Okay. Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm just starting the recording just now. So before going to the cost functions, I am just asking the participants to save participant lists. Okay, I'm saving the participant list on the desktop. Economy, attendance, 21st, 2014. Sorry, I'm just listing out attendance. Okay. So before moving to the cost concepts, I just want to ask my students if they have any doubts, anything to be cleared. You can just text me, please. Text me if you have any doubts before moving to cost concepts. Right? So I'm giving you a couple of seconds, not much. Hope you all have an idea about what is economy and what is engineering economy. So far I was just talking about these two. Hope you are clear till now. Some students type in Arabic. Seven to 5. Let me explain in short. Is it okay? Good. Good. Let me proceed to costs. Good. Now, let me, this is very important, you see, the cost classifications. This is very important where you need to pay your attention slightly. So far I was just telling you about an introduction and overview of economy and engineering economy, so on and so forth. So it's just a general discussions. Now cost classifications, this is very important to continue throughout this course. You see, let me talk about the total cost. If you take any product, the product will have its own cost, and that cost we call it as the total costs of that product. So the total cost of a product is classified as below. You see from this diagram it's clear the total cost is having two major classifications. One is fixed cost related to the production of the product, and the other one is the variable cost related to that particular product. So the total cost is nothing but it is the summation or addition of fixed cost and variable cost involved in manufacturing that particular product. The product may be pencil, maybe pen, maybe car, maybe any damn product, engineering products. So you're clear now that the total cost is the summation of fixed cost and variable cost. These are the two major costs. See here, right? This is the fixed cost and this is the variable cost. The summation of these two is termed as total cost on the top. Okay, so now let me take you to the next slide to tell you what is fixed cost then. Should know what is fixed cost and what is variable cost to make calculations, right? Oh, come here. This is a fixed cost. You see, from the name you can find the cost is fixed. Fine. Before talking about the cost, before talking about the fixed cost, let me tell you what is cost. Let me take you to the open page. Fine. Let me add the text. So the cost, what is the cost? What is cost? So cost cost is an expenditure. Cost is an expenditure. Expenditure is nothing but a cash outflow from us. If any cash is flowing out of our pocket, we call it as expense. We call it as expense. That is called cost. Cost is an expense. You can also call cost as a loss to you because your money is going out. So this is cost. Now let me see. Let me tell you what is total cost. I mean fixed cost. I'm taking the pointer to show you clearly. So the fixed cost. See, this is a cost. Cost, you know very well, cost is an expense. It is an expenditure or it is a cash outflow from a system. Fine. So what is a fixed cost? See, from the name you can understand the cost doesn't change. The cost is fixed. With respect to what? The cost is fixed even though there is a change in output of the company. Even though there is a change in output of a manufacturing system. Even though there is a change in the output of a production activity, any damn thing. The output may change, the output may not change, but the fixed cost will never change at all. Example, you can say the cost of a land, the cost of a building, the cost of a machine, the cost of insurance. Every year you pay for the building, for the land, for the equipments, and the taxes. The taxes also you pay to the company, to the office, every year, annual tax. So whether you produce more or you produce less, whether your output is more or your output is less, these costs, land cost which you purchased, building costs which you built, machine cost which you purchased, insurance which you are supposed to pay, and taxes which you are supposed to pay will never change. They are constant. So these costs are called as fixed cost, right? So fixed cost will not change even though the demand changes or even though the output changes. When you come down to the graph, please come down, see this graph I have given you on the bottom right corner. You can see the fixed cost line. There is just a horizontal line which is parallel to x-axis. You see, I've just plotted this graph by taking units. Units is nothing but output in x-axis and cost in y-axis. I have shown in dollars. It's just a unit of money. You can take in any currencies. Fine. Now, when units is 0, fixed cost is some value here. Let's assume this value is 1,000 Saudi Riyal. When unit is increasing to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, so on and so forth, the fixed cost is not changing. It's still at 10,000 Saudi Riyal. right? So this kind of cost is called as fixed cost. So hope you're clear that the fixed cost is a cost which never changes even though there is a change in output of a production system. Fine. Example I told you, it's a land cost, building cost, machine cost, insurance cost, tax cost, blah blah. And now the next cost is about the variable cost. What is the variable cost of a product? If you take a product, you should know what is a variable cost. Which cost is varying? Varying means changing. The cost which changes when output is changing. This cost is very sensitive to output. If there is a change in output, the cost changes. If the output decreases, the cost decreases. If output increases, the cost increases. So there is a direct relationship between variable cost and output of a system, number of units. You look into this graph down, the bright green color, if you see 0 units produced, output is 0 unit, the variable cost is 0. Variable cost starts from here. It is not starting from here, right? This is the 0 point for variable cost. Please look into the graph. I am showing you with the cursor. This is the point where variable cost starts. This is a 0 point for the variable cost. So when unit is increasing from 0 to 5, 10, you look into the variable cost, it's increasing. Why? Because one product needs some materials, some labors, some electricity, so one product is consuming material, labor hours, machine hours, electricity, and all these things. So if one product is consuming 5 Saudi Riyal, 2 products will consume 10 Saudi Riyal. If you produce 3 products, it will consume 15 Saudi Riyal. So when there is a change in output from 1 unit to 2 units, 3 units, the variable cost of the product will also increases. See, there is a linear increase in variable cost. I'm showing in the graph. From 0, it increases in a linear fashion. It is fitting to the straight line. It starts from 0 unit production, and then when units increases, I mean the output, units means output. When the output is increasing, the variable cost also slowly increasing. Fine. What are the examples of varying cost? You see here, they vary in total with the quantity of output. That means if output quantity increases, variable cost increases. If output quantity decreases, variable cost decreases. Examples, as I told you, labor cost. Because for example, to make one product you need 1 labor. I'm just telling for an example, right? So if you want to make 2 products, then you need obviously 2 labors. So when 2 labors means they cost more. Similarly for material, similarly for overhead costs. I'll tell you what is overhead costs. Overhead costs are not direct. Say for example, air-conditioned room. Air condition is not directly related to the product, but its cost is included in the product. Sum of costs, cafeteria, free cafe is given for the staff. So that cafeteria costs, all these things. We will discuss them in the next slides. So now I will be happy if you know what is fixed cost and what is variable cost. So students, fixed cost, they are the costs which are not affected when there is a change in output. Example, land, building, machine, insurance, taxes, etc. Variable costs, they are the costs which are affected when there is a change in output level. When output increases, variable cost increases. They are linearly proportional to each other. So this is what this graph is talking about. Fixed cost is constant, constant, variable cost is varying in a linear fashion. Now what is total cost? Total cost is summation of fixed cost and variable cost. See, the total cost, it is the summation of the fixed cost and variable cost. If you want to take a total cost at this line, if this fixed cost is 10,000, if the variable cost at this point, please see the graph, at this point if variable cost is 5,000, so total cost at this point will be 15,000. Okay. Similarly, if you want to find the total cost at this last point, fixed cost is same 10,000, there is no change. Variable cost has increased from 5,000 to say some 20,000. So this 10,000 fixed cost plus 20,000 variable cost, total will be 20 plus 10. 20 plus 10 is 30,000. 30,000. That is the total cost at this point, right? These are the 2 points I'm just telling you for an example. Okay. So now let's come back to this relation between fixed cost and total cost. The total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. The fixed cost, you see, it is given in the formula with symbols. Total cost CT, suffix T, equal to fixed cost plus CV, that is the total variable cost. This CV is again equal to variable cost. This is a small c. Variable cost of one product multiplied by demand of the product. That is nothing but number of units. That is the total variable cost. CV multiply D. Okay. We will solve problems in this in the next class to come. Now you should know what is the relation between total cost, fixed cost and variable cost. So total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost, where the total variable cost, capital C, V, is equal to variable cost of one product multiplied by number of products. Fine? Yes. Now let's go to the next slide, which talks about different other costs. There are so many costs to learn. You can also surf in internet and find and get an idea about different costs. But I am briefing here related to your course content. See, more ways to categorize costs. Direct costs. Direct cost is always directly related to the product, and you can measure it. Right? Example, labor. I'm assigning him directly on the product. I know how many labor work on a product. We can find it. Material. We know how many materials are used in one product. How many types of material, how many quantity of material, and all this. These are all direct costs. You see, these costs can be measured and allocated to a specific work activity, such as cost of material used and labor and so on and so forth. Indirect costs, see, they are difficult to attribute, they are difficult to allocate to a specific output. It's difficult. Say for example AC, software engineers are working, they produce a product called some language, software language. They take 6 months. All the 6 months they use AC room. They are sitting in the AC room, they work. So the consumption of AC to give a comfortable working condition, it is not attributed directly to the product. So it's difficult to measure. But still AC is calculated for each product, the power consumption of air conditioned system. So these costs, which are difficult to measure and allocate to a specific output, is called as indirect cost. They are also called as overhead cost. They are above our head. We cannot control them. It's difficult to find how much and to which product. That's why they are termed as overhead costs. Or it is a burden cost. You see, burden means it's a headache. You can also call it as a headache costs, right? Fine. So such costs, such as cost of tools, because one tool is used for 1,000 workpieces or so. Equipment maintenance, we don't know at which duration the maintenance happens, and there are different types of maintenance: expected, unexpected, breakdown, periodic, all these things. So it's difficult to allocate for each product. So these costs comes under category indirect cost. So it's enough if you just remember direct cost are the cost which are measurable and we can allocate them to the product directly. Example, labor, material. Indirect costs, they are the costs which are very difficult to assign to the product and very difficult to measure as well. But still these costs are associated with the production of the product. This is called indirect cost. Let's say standard cost. This is standard cost. It is nothing but cost per unit of output. If you produce one bottle of water, Moya, for one bottle of 1 liter of Moya, how much cost is involved? And this cost is called as standard cost. This standard cost is calculated before producing that one bottle of water, 1 liter of Moya. So it is not actual, it is a planned cost. So the standard cost is also termed as the planned cost. Why? Because this cost is estimated before carrying on actual production of a product. It's a theoretical view. So standard cost, please remember, this is the cost associated with production of 1 unit of a product. That's it. This is done before production. That is why this cost is also called as planned cost. Fine. I think you're clear with direct cost, indirect cost, standard cost, and standard cost. Now let me talk to you on incremental cost. You see, from the name, it's clear to you what is incremental. Increment is nothing but increase with a small step by step increase. That is called increment. So the cost associated for increment of one product, that is increasing the output by 1 unit, that is called incremental. So if you increase, you see, you have planned, for example, you have planned to produce 100 products. For 100 products, if your cost is 100 real, for 101 product, what is the cost? And those costs are called as incremental cost, right? So this is nothing but an additional cost resulting from increasing output of a system by 1 unit. You see, you can just note down here, I'll just show you, by 1 unit. You see, not more. Sometimes we take it as more units, but better to take 1 unit at the beginning stage. Once if you are familiar with calculations, then we can go to increment more than 1 unit, right? So I hope you understood what is direct cost, what is indirect cost, and what is standard cost. Standard cost is a planned cost which is done before production, and it is for 1 unit only. And what is incremental cost? Incremental cost, it is a cost which is associated when the production level is increased by 1 unit. That's it. Fine. Well, after my lecture, if you go through the slides again, it will get into your mind. Don't worry about this. And these are the next other cost terminologies, just to give you an idea what is a cash cost. You see, because being an engineer, after your graduations, when you, for 10 minutes, after your graduations, when you become a manager, you should know some knowledge on the accounts and economics. That's why we give you all these cost terminologies right now. Okay, so cash cost, this is a cost that involves a payment of cash. A payment of cash. Say when you make a transactions with cash, you take cash and you give your product in terms of cash. That is called cash cost. The next type of cost is book cost. Book cost is nothing but you don't take cash, but you write the cost of the product in the book, in the accounting system, and the money will be collected later. That kind of transaction is called as book cost. Sunk cost, is it from the name you can understand sunk. Sunk means it's a gone case, you know, we can call it as a gone case. Because it will never come. Once sunk, it is almost equal to a dead cost. So this is the cost that has occurred in the past. The sunk cost is a cost that has occurred in the past and has no relevance to the present and future costs or future estimations. Okay, there's a sunk cost. Sunk cost is nothing but it is a cost which is associated with the past and which has no relation with present and future cost estimations. So you should know what is cash cost, what is book cost, what is sunk cost, and there are so many costs to deal with. When you get time, get into the internet, please. Now cost terminologies, again opportunity cost. This is a monetary advantage forgone due to limited resources. See, we got an opportunity to produce more products. Well, to produce more products, I need more machine, I need more facilities, but I don't have facilities. So I don't take the new order coming to me. So it is a big opportunity I am missing, right? So this is called opportunity cost. I missed. So it's a lose, you know, it's losing from my hand. Opportunity is losing from my hand. Business opportunity is losing from my hand. So it's a cost. That kind of cost we call it as opportunity cost. Next is the life cycle cost. From the name you can understand it is all costs associated throughout the product production, right from the beginning till the final finishing stage of the product. Every cost associated with the product is called as life cycle cost. See, the summation of all costs related to a product, structure, system, or service during its lifespan, means right from the raw material stage till the finishing stage. This cost is called as life cycle cost. I think we have some 2-3 slides to go. Hope I need some more time, almost 9:57. My dear students, I am ending my first lecture with slide number 11. Hopefully from slide number 12, I will meet you in the next lecture with price of products. Price of a products, and we see demand relations, we see cost curves in the next class. That will be on 25th Wednesday. So I thank all of you for the effective participations. Thank you, students. We will see you in the next session on Wednesday, the same time, 9 p.m. Thank you so much. We will continue on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Good night to all. You're welcome and have a nice night. Right on. You put it in, mix the cost reference.